Howdy ho, everybody. Thursday again. We're out here in Deadman's. If you know how to get here, come on by. Night. You notice a few extra doodads there at the bottom of my canvas. I'm working on animation. I'm gonna try to anyway. I haven't done much animation here in Clip Studio. Turn down this music a little bit too, but I'm gonna give it a go. Well, I got Pro Edition, so I'm loaded to 24 frames, which is wild. But maybe only further incentive to buy the real deal. But hey, we'll see what we can do in those 24 frames. Axem wants me to use John R. Dilworth as my teacher. Yeah, actually. John came up a lot when I was doing some solo streams back in the day. I really respect his art. And I've watched a lot of his pre-courage stuff, which is... He's just a really interesting dude. He's got a distinct style for sure. I believe he called his little animated shorts Silly Dillies. And it was a lot of like slapstick with his very distinct style. That kind of gross, slightly off, eyes going out every which way kind of style. But I certainly respect it a lot. How do I want... Now, I believe I've tried to animate this exact thing on stream previously, but I was using Blender and didn't realize till like the end of the stream that I had animated everything in vector, and I don't think that would translate to an emote very well. Ooh, Axem with the Prime subscription. 5 months, thank you. You are my Huckleberry. And we got Specular Davey in the chat. So I appreciate you both being here. Now I got a sound notification twice on my end. I don't know if y'all heard that, but if so, more reason to subscribe. And if you do it with Prime, as we always say, take it straight out of Bezos' mouth. Do I want to start the snake over here? I'll start him right up in the middle, because then I can just loop it easier that way. Yeah. Animation in Clip Studio is fucky. Hope it's better layout for you than it has been on my version. It's awkward. That's for certain. But, you know, I don't have enough experience with any other program for it to make a tremendous difference, I don't think. I mean, I've got my timeline here, and I think I understand features down here pretty well. I do like the layer options here. That's why I want to animate in Clip Studio, because I'm more familiar with like the interface from an illustration perspective. So I think it'll be in more natural transition, but you know, we'll see. It takes a little bit of time to learn anything. And I like Clip Studio, and I'd like to use it primarily for everything if I were able to. But that is I don't know, that's just a hefty buy-in at the moment. Um, I mean, eventually, probably this year, I'll shut up and invest in it, but, you know, not having to. You don't always expect to replace a windshield. Um, but yeah, that certainly set a hindrance on certain things. Also, I'd love to save up and go to the Czech Republic next year and get LASIK, but I don't know. We'll see. As with everything, we'll see. What is the canvas properties on here? Ah, that simply won't do. Or maybe it will? Why am I using pixels? No, I should be using pixels. And I believe 72 DPI is recommended for emotes. But I never seem to get the emote down. Certain people seem to, and maybe it's just through experience, have they're able to better utilize the limited space and realize certain details a little bit better. But, you know, I'll never get better unless I keep doing. So I think I'm going to lay down some sketch layers here. Go to the midway point. I've got 24 total, so we'll go to. I duplicate this. Guess I can just do this last one here. Create new animation cell. And if I just copy what I have here, should be able to. Okay, now I see what you mean. This animation is. It's an animation folder, so I guess each one of these is a new. Now, how do I feel about that? I guess this is how onion skinning works? No? I'm just going to control V. Alright, maybe I don't know how this works. I'm going to control V. This is going to take some using my noggin. So is each layer like another page in the sketchbook? Paper's universal. Can I control C, can I create a new animation cell? New animation layer. I select this frame. Thought I got a good surface grasp of this, but maybe I should have done more. Um, new animation folder mean? We're gonna figure this out together, everybody. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I could do research live here on stream, or I could draw for the people and do this in my own ding-dang time. But you know what? I'm gonna do more research, and I promise you I'll get back to you. But hey, if you'd like to join me in the call here, find us over at Dead Man's Saloon on Discord. And if you'd like that link, just let me know. Shout your Discord name out in the chat. We're trying to be a little more reserved. We know how easy it is that for public spaces to get ruined by some no good nicks here on the internet. So I'm going to get rid of the timeline and animation cells. What have I opened recently? I'll work on my drawing for the orange on my color wheel. If you want to see the red I posted a beautiful Joe on my personal art page. It's over on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, it's Travisor Art and Design. Instagram, it's Mighty Travisor. Travisor is Travis AUR. I mean, you can find all that shit in the comments and in the description. Let me go ahead and pull up some reference here of Ryusuke Minami. Somebody who's certainly going to be rocking a whole lot of orange. I don't know how I feel about this playlist. It's pretty all over the place. So, switch it up. There we go. I believe when I left off this drawing, I was adjusting certain proportions, such as his guitar, which I'm not great with guitar models. It is a Les Paul. So, we're gonna get up in there and adjust some of these dynamics here. Should be much better than this at this than I am, because for an inking and watercolor class I took taught by Bryce Koo, I drew a Les Paul like probably close to 10 times from different angles, and it turns out guitars are really complex shapes. So, like a human body, it looks different from every angle. I guess that could be said about anything. Yeah, we'll get in some nice lines here and clean everything up. Yeah, proportion-wise, it just did not... Les Pauls are really big, turns out. It was because of the show that this is from. In case you don't know, it's Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, my favorite anime. I started taking guitar lessons. I wasn't able to keep up with them at the time. It's something I'd love to return to, but weird thing about growing older is that you wind up with less free time on your hands. So if you're out there and you're young, uh, make use of it. So you only get less time as time goes on. It's a weird phenomenon. That looks pretty good for the faceplate here. Weird thing about his Les Paul is that it seems to have a border on it on the face, but only sometimes. Can't tell if that's just supposed to be highlight or a border. Guess it's time for a little artistic interpretation here. Never mind, I'm finding the exact color scheme and model that he has. I should really call it more Paul. You're a rapscallion, you know that, Axem? The more Paul would be a double neck. I found out what I'm looking at here in the art is a nice little bezel that goes around. It's going to be much less visible on parts that are away from us. This is something I wasn't able to rely on with my inking class because we were doing inks. No sketches, just straight into the ink work, and I think I developed some good habits because of it, but it'd be much better if I'd kept up with them. Such is life. I hope you're all here to help me work through these little neuroses I have. Get a Discord message. I wonder what's going on. Hope it's relevant. Who knows? Nothing important. Nothing pertaining to this, the right here, the right now. Oh, it is right there. I see. Yeah, we're taking callers. You want to get in that queue? We'll bring you on in. see if I can get this in a... Will so slide on the outside rim. It really is a beautiful guitar, though. Oh, and as of yesterday, we got a new video up on YouTube from a stream gone by. If I remembered which one it was, I'd tell you, but I've been batch editing them. Let me know what you think. Go subscribe, go comment, engage. Because YouTube's like it when you engage, and we like it too. See if I can get this the way that I'm happy with. It's gonna be a tough one. Whole little spike here. All right, we got a caller in queue. Axem, I'm gonna bring you in. Should be able to just drag and drop, I believe. We got a caller in queue. Welcome.
Well, howdy.
Goodbye. Lost you for a sec, but I'll be happy to drag you back in if you like. I could jump back to the call-in queue there, friend. If you'd like me to bring you back in, just you say the word. Spike's gotta go a little higher here. That's pretty good. Let's see here. Gonna do some cleanup on these lines. Just finished welcome back, Axem.
Oh, you caught me at just the right time there.
Ooh, yeah. What can I get you?
Just a couple of gents on the old desert road.
You know how we do. Shake off that dust and pull up a chair.
So, what you said we're doing some Mongolian Chop Squad, huh?
Yeah.
I never did watch it, but I know that's like your all-time fave.
Oh, absolutely. Like, back when I was media obsessed, I would say it was just the best anime ever. But looking back, I can realize it's kind of slow getting into it. Um, but yeah, it's still my favorite by far.
Dang. After all this time, and you're just over here
Still
with the
here.
Severus Snape, yeah, always. I definitely fall in and out of love with anime more than I hold like one show as a flagship.
Yeah, this one's my rock. Like I I try not to watch it too much of my own because I love the opportunity to show it to people.
Yeah, they, I'm the same way. If I can show people something that I am just over the moon about, then it doubles the effectiveness for me.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I've learned
As
to temper my expectations if they don't love it because I know it's not for everybody. It's very slice of life.
right, there's nothing wrong with slice of life. Honestly, probably the best genre objectively.
Yeah,
It,
I
it
just like
it's
very
hard to
human
say there's
stories.
mm-hmm,
Sorry, you're
like
gonna say.
filler. Earlier I was gonna say in terms of animation, what's sort of your favorite thing going on? I know animation's kind of upscaled in anime in probably like the last 5 6 years.
You just mean animation as a whole?
Yeah, I know like
Obviously, Spider Verse was a triumph of animation.
oh yeah,
Just the amount of care and like lack of like there were no corners cut because a lot of animation is unfortunately cutting corners just to really get points across and everything, but every scene was so stylized and there was so much going on. There was always such beautiful scene work and settings. So that's
how much am
certainly
I
up
gonna
there
hurt
for me
your
right
feelings when
now.
I say I still haven't seen Spider Verse 2?
Oh, you should absolutely check it out if you get the chance.
It was one of those like we kept trying to make plans to go like to the drive-in or something, do like some double feature kind of nonsense, and then I
Yeah.
missed the boat entirely. I was like, well, I guess got to put that on the to-do list now.
Yeah, and I mean like I'm sure it'll be just as beautiful watching it on like a big home TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Not one to watch on
And
your phone. That's the only time I'll agree with David Lynch.
I get into the what was I even gonna say? I lost it.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
and, no, you're good. You're good. In terms of anime, how do you? Is there anything you watch currently that you enjoy the animation of, or you're just looking at it kind of like you said, more cut corners to get to the next piece?
Have you watched Mob Psycho at all?
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
my
Mob
god.
Psycho has always had really good animation, and they're 3 seasons in, and it has not dropped off quality wise.
Which blows me away because that was the whole thing with One Punch Man, wasn't it? Or the gripe for season 2 is the animation.
Yeah,
Or
but do you know the story behind how he got that first season
he pulled in
together?
like a bunch of is what I heard basically. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of very spectacular artists lending their ability.
So it
But so
wasn't
then I
really
guess it's
sustainable.
but as far as Mob, because it's the same I guess it's the same creator but different teams.
Yeah, different animation studio took it on. I don't know if it's I don't think it's Mappa, but I'd have to look it up. Um
Dude, it might be because the Mappa scenes in Jujutsu Kaisen, they're
yeah,
pretty
Mappa's
top
got
tier.
so much going on right now and it's all really good. Have you watched Hell's Paradise at all?
Haven't.
It's on Crunchyroll and
I've
it's
had
a
it
really nice
recommended.
story. Yeah, like the first season just aired this past summer. So, I mean, if you're looking for something to watch, it's got a cool plot line and everything. Um, but the animation is really pretty, and they do a lot with 10 episodes, and none of it really feels like there's never that hard quality drop off that you sometimes see in anime. Like you see it a lot
Yeah.
in like the big shonens where you've got like
Yeah.
8 frames per second at like 72 DPI.
Mhm. Even I'd even say like bringing Demon Slayer into that. It's like they make the fights and like these certain scenes so pretty and so like hyper realistic in some of the shots,
Oh
especially in that
yeah.
entertainment district arc.
Like
And
I didn't keep up with
it
the show, but like what I saw of the animation, it was beautiful.
yeah, I was gonna say I've just from like social media, I've seen it clips of it everywhere, and this is like a year after it aired. So I was like, people are still raving about this. I was like, maybe it's airing on Toonami or something currently, because I was kind of surprised people were still talking about it. But it
Oh yeah.
probably is like the
It's
most popular anime as a whole right now, at
oh
least over
absolutely.
here. Those
Yeah,
theaters fill up for those like movie events.
I have no barometer for overseas.
There's I can't remember the channel, but there is a guy I subscribe to on TikTok and on YouTube, and he does like short style interviews with like both natives and foreigners, and like just people of all kinds over there in Japan. And there was one where he's asking them about their favorite anime, and like it wasn't surprising 'cause he's just getting people off the streets. There's a lot of people are like, I don't watch much anime, and then they like Dragon Ball, and I'm like, that's so
Yeah.
old now. And like these are people at least at most our age, but probably at least like 20.
Hmm.
So I'm like, Dragon Ball, like it's crazy to think it's been a saga this long.
Oh,
But
I know.
the real uptick over there seemed to be Attack on Titan. I think that was the clear favorite in his small survey.
That's weird because
And
I don't know. I guess there's just maybe it says more about media retention over here. Like it's very easy to fall out of favor just by not putting out content. And I
okay.
know Attack on Titan did pop off again whenever they released new stuff recently, but I
I
mean,
felt like the first season of that came out in like 2011 or something though. I felt like
it
it
did.
was yes, I mean that's a big gap.
Yeah, it had a bunch of big gaps because it had season 1 to season 2. I um I'm just gonna look up the season release dates for Attack on Titan
Yeah.
because there were such massive gaps between
1 and
everything.
2 were probably the closest, and then it's like 3 and then 4.
I want to say there was like a 2-year release lapse between season 1 and 2.
I really never gave it a shot until season 4 was getting ready to come out. And I say I got about halfway through season 1, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
fair. It's very bleak.
and the show drives on suspense. So unless you want, I'm very greedy. I want fulfillment pretty fast, and that's not a show that's gonna be like, okay, well here's what happened. That's it for that. Because really, they just have the one overarching plot, and then all the inner workings that complicate it.
Yeah. It I was watching that and starting to watch Game of Thrones because they were both very popular at
Very,
the time.
yeah, yeah,
And it just I think it kind of wore on me just how bleak and set up for failure everything was.
yeah.
I
I
looked
was
it
starting
up.
to,
Sorry, real quick. Season one
yeah.
aired in April 2013. Season two, April
Okay.
2017. Three,
Yeah.
July 2018. Season
Oh,
four, the final season, December of 2020. And then the final chapter, part one, was March 2023.
Yeah, that's crazy. As a non-fan, there is something I always wanted to do, and that's Universal Studios Japan. The theme park will do like these like VR, like augmented rides. So you'll be on a roller coaster and they augment you with a headset or whatever to do a VR experience, and they sort of lease it out. But once upon a time, they had Attack on Titan. And I was like,
Oh,
imagine how
cool.
terrifying it would be to be like on a coaster and you just see Titans. And I'm
So is
like,
it like
that would,
full headset VR or is it like augmented
it,
reality?
I believe it was full headset. I'll go ahead and dive into this since you graced me
'Cause
with the other knowledge.
they at Six Flags St. Louis they had that one ride that was exorbitantly expensive, but for the time it was full headset VR where you're just in like the moving chairs. I don't know if you ever rode on that or remember it at all.
Mm, no, I never did get to do because it was the Ninja, right?
No, it was just like
Where they
kind of outside of like their studio square area. They had like these two rows of chairs up on risers, kind of under
okay.
like a covered stage, and like you paid a fee and you could go ride the ride, so to speak. And it was just like these chairs that moved and like misted you, and it was like full headset VR. But you know,
Oh,
it was Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 graphics.
dang. No, I didn't really know.
I mean, back in the
Yeah,
day,
so it's
like,
just
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I
So the
just
for the
go
oh
ahead.
no, not again.
Definitively, you're
The
the
yeah,
guest.
the VR it is just goggles overlaid, but you're on a coaster. Um, so like it looks pretty wonky just for like the civilian view of people on the ride. It's
Yeah.
a little dystopian, sort of like some Ready Player One shit. But
Is it
uh,
like a full coaster? Not just like a simulator?
yeah. Let's see if we can get more details. I mean, definitively, I could probably just look up
Because
like
like
YouTube.
you're adding two already nausea-inducing items together. It just seems like a recipe for Puke City.
Yeah. Well, go ahead with your story. I'm gonna see if I can find like actual video
I didn't
of
actually
this.
have a story. It was just an addendum to the thing.
It,
But
well, no, I mean, because that's interesting to me. Because like Six Flags was never my forte, and I really didn't go consistently till maybe 2013.
gotcha. Yeah, I
So like
used to
as
go
a
all the
child, I missed
time.
out on all that.
I looked out because my best friend, uh, when we were in like middle school, his mom and stepdad worked there. So I would go
Okay.
over to his house to hang out, but his mom and stepdad would have to work, and so it'd be a Six Flags day. And so we spent a lot of time there. But because of how much time we spent there, we didn't really do a whole lot of the extra amenities. It was just doing everything we could do for having no money as 10-year-olds.
Right.
Pick up. Is it? Shit. Oh, this one has different pickups. Got these silver humbuckers on here. This is why we use reference, folks. We're getting into theme park stuff a lot, like just videos and content. I've
I
been
go ahead.
I was just gonna
Sorry,
say,
that's
like,
just
I've
an
been
exciting
burning through a
topic.
bunch of defunct land and keeping up with creepy old crypt.
Yeah. I've never really watched Creepy Old Crypt. Is that pretty much all about the parks and rides and things? Or like just
Uh,
the state of them?
no, it's just Rocco's personal channel, and he'll it's honestly just usually him with Kevin having a chill discussion. But I mean, they do some interesting stuff on there because Rocco's always going to events and stuff at the parks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get that annual pass. I mean, why not?
Yeah, but you just got back from Disney World. How was that?
Hold on a sec. Um, it was really nice, you know. I always tell people like me and Katie did like the definitive trip years ago with like we did it once with friends and then like we went by ourselves in I think 2018. And I mean we did every ride, all the parks, uh just the Win It Big trip. Obviously with a kiddo and you take them, you don't really very much like your D&D campaigns. You have a loose script, things you want to hit, especially with Disney. It's kind of like timed events, and
Yeah,
a lot of it is registration based long before you get to the park, right? So like they have 90
especially
days in
now.
advance. Yeah, like 90, I think it's 60 days in advance. You basically reserve meals for the sought after sit down restaurants. And ever
Even
since
like Blue
COVID,
Bayou,
it, what was it?
even like Blue Bayou.
I don't even know what Blue Bayou is.
It's the one outside of Pirates of the Caribbean.
So if they're pretty casual, you don't. Like one I
Gotcha.
can think of is I think it's Cosmic Rays. It's got like burgers and stuff.
Hmm.
Typically not, but so with Eris, we wanted to take her to like the Cinderella's Royal Table, which is one of the like
Oh
most sought
yeah,
after ones.
and that's like
And
a character meal, right?
yeah, yeah. So you meet like six different princesses and stuff. The food's adequate, but I mean you're paying hand over fist because it's already Disney prices. But now
Oh
you're
yeah.
getting like so it's something I wouldn't do like without a kid. But
Yeah, that's fair. And then I think the princesses might look at a couple Disney adults weird for.
I always I you know, the Disney adult thing's definitely true. Like the trope. I don't I land somewhere in the middle because people I talk to all the time are like, you know, me like alcohol, me an adult. Why go to kids park? And it's like kids park's very fun. It's one of the few places left in the world where they're gonna pretend they care about you.
Yeah, that's
And
fair. I
so
definitely I wasn't trying to knock the experience or anything, but
no,
like,
no, no. It's not you. It's more so just like in the day to day explaining it. You know, how was
yeah,
it? Because most people go to Florida, they want to go to the Keys and get ripped on a beach, and that can be fun. But you like, especially for me, I always get into this argument. Not even an argument. People always be like, "Well, I like Universal more because it's got all the rides." I'm like, Universal is very comparable to like your Six Flags, as to where
yeah.
Disney is literally their mission statement one was always to not be like a circus carnival theme park attraction. They're like, we're gonna be clean and we're gonna have all this everything all the architecture is gonna look very fancy. I mean, it's just a perfected system down there that's why they make as much money as they do.
Hmm. It's more about
Um
the experience overall rather than a bunch of individual
yeah,
attractions.
exactly. And so the cool thing about taking a kid is like kiddie rides don't really ever get as long of a wait as other rides.
Hmm.
Um, you know, we took the kids on like the carousel like four times in a row while we were there with two other adults, my brother and his wife, and so we take turns watching the kids, and then go ride Space Mountain, or they have a new Tron Light Cycle ride, and we rode that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, you would really like that, but it's one of the shorter rides at the park, and since it's like the newest attraction there, it's the longest wait.
Oh, jeez.
They do a virtual queue like at 7 in the morning that day,
Oh, yeah, because
or you do their like.
you have to like
So
select your
that's
rides for the day, essentially, right?
yeah. So they did away with their old fast pass system, and that's how it was. You'd reserve your rides for the day. So now they have like the paid fast pass. Um, and that's called like Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes. They do this thing where like the two biggest rides are Lightning Lanes, and that costs you X amount of dollars to ride one ride. As to where Genie Plus is like X amount of dollars to get a fast pass for any ride in the park besides those two really big ones.
Oh, yeah, because they have a tier system for their rides. I learned about this
Yeah.
through Defunct Land. He did a whole
Yep.
video essay on the Fast Pass.
Yeah. And it was in limbo for a time, but it's pretty much back to what they set it out to be. Uh, and so, while the Tron ride, you don't have to do that to get on the virtual queue. The virtual queue wait is probably 2 hours. It was pretty ridiculous. So we did
Yeah.
do the lightning lane, and I mean, we got on, I'd say in 5 minutes.
Oh,
But
nice.
that thing was fast. Um,
Like
I'm
the
used to like
car
the Mr.
itself, or
Freeze. Yeah, so it does like a whole Mr. Freeze or a Hulk where right out of the gate it's gonna send you full speed, full momentum.
ah, that's what I want from a Tron ride.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna love it. I'm not. I mean, you can go watch it. I'm not gonna do the disjustice of explaining it haphazardly, but they use a lot of the same music and a lot of that Tron Legacy aesthetic, getting in there. So much so that they have like a screen of like not the users, the CPU like opponents. And so
Oh,
I don't know
cool.
if they're randomized. I want to like look into this. So when we were in there, they had like all these aliases and like their skills and stuff, and they're doing like poses and things, just
Hmm.
how video game characters do today, like your Fortnites or your all your MOBAs and things. So it's very funny because they have like difficulty ratings and like win losses.
That's
So
cool.
it'd be like Drex. It's like 99 wins, 2 losses. It's like, oh shit, I hope we don't run into Drex. Just joking. But
Yeah,
the
you just get a
takeoff was the
randomized
most
opponent.
right. I was like, that'd be cool. And that's just sort of the gimmick because I don't think there's any real integration
Hmm.
as far as like you versus anything. They do this a bit of like a rock and roller coaster where you're inside and everything's like dark and like the music's pumping to really drive the atmosphere. And then it takes you outside and they built like this big dome.
Oh,
Which is
shit.
kind of yeah, it's huge. So the coaster is like rain or shine, it's not affected. 'Cause, I mean, this thing is like massive. It looks like an
That's
AT field.
awesome.
And it I can't stress enough the takeoff is just very very fast. Like with the Mr. Freeze, it charges for a bit and your body acclimates. I was on Tron and I was like, here it comes. I was like, oh no, we're still speeding up. Like it did not stop for probably like 5 or 6 whole seconds
Beat a
in
light,
real
baby.
time seconds. Yeah, I was like, man, we're going. Kind of wish it was like a horror ride so they could just like gimmick me with yeah, just let me get your lap band there, and then the ride just takes off before the cast member gets to me. I would be terrified. I was terrified. We got some good pictures through
These
all that.
blasts how Star Wars was.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess you haven't been in a while, so I mean, I do have quite a bit of like Disney rides under my belt at this point because the Smugglers Run that they did in their Star Wars land was pretty awesome. Kind of like a 6-player arcade within like a ride, like Spider-Man, that sort of style.
Is that the Millennium Falcon run?
Yes. So it's like apparently it's like user influenced, depending on like how many, because you have gunners and things. Depending on how you do the course, it's kind of a bit of a Star Fox, and you'll deviate to a different path in the ride.
Oh, neat.
So I'm under the understanding of, I don't know if it's 100%, but there are some Easter eggs in there regardless.
That's fun.
The rest of the trip was pretty cool though. We went to the beach. I just sort of liked seeing the wildlife there that's, you know, unscripted.
Yeah.
Like we found a crab down there. I saw a stingray at one point. I realized that like stingrays were probably never scary, but after Steve Irwin was killed by one, like now I almost said it like shark. I was like stingray.
No,
That kind
I
of like
mean, you
laugh
don't want
after.
to. It's like most wild animals, you don't want to really get too close.
Right.
Those
And
barbs
then
can mess you up.
the more alarming part of it is, yeah, like you could step on one and not even know it. They're
Yeah.
so close to the floor and they're so transparent.
Yeah, I have a lot of phobia about just walking on ocean floor.
It's a yeah, I'm sure it's
Walking
well
on
earned.
ocean floor. But yeah, that stuff is really neat. I went parasailing down in Destin, Florida,
Oh wow.
and it was not like I expected at all. Because as soon as we got up to height, it was just dead silent. Like we
Was it
weren't
like
high enough for.
terrifying in that regard?
Well, I
Or
was
did you have
expecting
a like
like there to be
flat?
like wind, whipping and, but I guess
Oh,
because like we weren't moving that fast in relation to everything, like it was just very silent. So it was just me and my friend up there talking to each other, and then you see like in Animal Crossing, you see shapes in the water,
huh,
and so it's like these big shadows because you know that it's casting a shadow on the sand beneath. We
yeah.
saw either a big stingray or manta ray surface and then go back down. That thing was massive, and then
Wow.
we see like a big, what looks like a big fish shape, and we start descending. We're like, no, 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 no.
So this is how it happens.
If
I've
I had to guess,
since
it
I've
would have
been
been like a grouper or something. But
be kind of cool to like get it aboard and get a look at it and then toss it back.
yeah,
I'm like infatuated with fishing, but I don't really have any practical use um in fishing, so I would like to do
yeah.
like a lot of that sea fishing, but it's like it would be like one of those rich people novelties, and I unfortunately don't have that luxury. So
You
it's
can
like,
go
what's the
large
point?
fish. Like you can go large fishing off the coast in the Gulf.
Yeah,
Like
you
people
definitely
catch
can, but
sharks
like
down
the
there.
money for the resources and things, it's like
Oh yeah.
unless I'm, gathering it for real, there's really no point I feel like in catch and release unless, it's for some like biological study,
Oh, I feel that for sure.
tagging them.
I got pretty scared off of fishing when I was in Boy Scouts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had to get my fishing merit badge, and in order to do that, you had to catch, fillet, and cook a fish.
Ooh.
And yeah, so one of the troop dads in my scout troop was an ex-marine, and so I catch this bass, and he's like, here, let me show you how to fillet it, and then just whips out his knife, does it in a couple quick seconds, and then takes like the bass with the meat cut entirely off of it, still gasping, and just throws it back in the water. And
What?
that stuck with me.
Why? What? What logic?
And it'll feed the other fish, I guess.
I right, but he didn't even like bait it, right? He didn't put it on the hook or anything. He's just like, here you go, lions.
It was for
Wow.
it was in a lake, so like closed off system, but
I get, yeah. I guess I just thought. I don't know what I thought. Just the nature of the beast, I suppose. Little
yeah. So that
human ingenuity. Yeah, I mean that probably definitely messed with me, like being younger. I wasn't exactly a go-getter for anything too graphic or anything. I didn't like getting
yeah.
my hands dirty even, so like for me to sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. It's like no, it really wouldn't. I remember there was a time uh, when I lived with my mom's when I was young. We came home from church or something one day, and one of the neighbors had hung a deer like they do from their antlers and just skinned him hanging up. 'Cause I guess that's like the cleanest, most practical way to not make a mess for yourself.
Oh yeah, and you got
But
to
so
drain the blood
I
out
just
and
see,
stuff.
yeah. I was like, I just see a skinless deer. Like I'd never anything skinless isn't really pleasant to look at because
Hot
I
take.
guess just it's it's pretty. I don't know. You're just as a person, even a little one. You're like, well, it hurts when your skin comes off. That thing's got no fucking skin. So that's a bad time.
Yeah, I get that. My neighbors growing up used to have pig roasts, and they'd go get the pig from the farmer and hang it up in their basement, and that was like the taboo thing the kids would sneak off to do is go see the pig before the roast, and yeah, that was like I've never been fond of pigs. It certainly didn't help my fear.
I think every kid who watched Spirited Away had some mild fear of pigs.
Well, I didn't watch that till like high school. I didn't know about
Oh
Ghibli
yeah,
movies.
even still.
Oh yeah. What really did it for me was back at Fright Fest at Six Flags. Um,
Mm,
I
I already
got
know where this is
taken.
going.
Yeah, Pigman.
Pigman. I was terrified of Pigman. And you know what I
Yeah,
realized? Parents just laugh like it's the funniest thing. And that's more
yeah,
traumatizing because you're like, now's not the time to laugh. You need to protect me because I'm about to get barbecued for real.
yeah. So for the people listening, our local theme park, Six Flags St. Louis, would do their whole Halloween reskin, and they used to go all out. But for one particular
Oh.
ride, they had was it a ride or was it like a haunted maze? I think it was
It
the
was so it was
mine
like the
train.
train. It
The
was the
mine
train.
train,
So the train
yeah.
normally takes you around. No
Oh, the
fuss,
regular
you know.
train.
Yeah. So the train, it just comes to a stop. And like so this was my experience at least, which was the most alarming part about it. Because I've heard they used to do this and they just do like cops and robbers that have like a robbers like we're gonna rob this train. Blah, 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 blah. That would have been fine, right? Like as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, I understand that. This is like it's nighttime. The train's not supposed to stop. The train stops. Like what's going on? Like full. Anytime adults say what's going on, it triggers a kid to be like something isn't right. Right? They're supposed
Yeah,
to
they're
know.
supposed to.
Even if it's part of the bit, that dialogue is a red flag. And so then it's like this pig man emerges, and I guess he had like a barbecue. Correct me at any point if I'm wrong. His gimmick was like he would barbecue people and eat them. This is a bit of role
Yeah,
reversal.
I remember his backstory being like he was a farmer who, and because they had like a little pre-screen video or something, and it was just like him, and then he gets trapped in a sty with a bunch of pigs, and then comes out Pigman. Whatever happens in that
I
sty is pretty unclear.
that might have helped. I don't remember any such like vignette for Pigman's debut. All I remember is being very afraid on a train where I just thought I was riding a train, you know. So maybe I was hoodwinked at a personal level. Maybe everyone else knew Pigman's origin story, and I was just out to lunch on that one. Uh,
I remember that very distinctly. It stuck with me. But yeah, parents laughed and they were having a grand old time.
oh yeah, that's. I'm like, no, stop, get the fuck away from
Because
Pigman.
I had some older cousins, and so they were really into like horror stuff because they were
Sure.
like preteens, teens when I was
Mhm.
4 or 5. And so they convinced my dad to take. My brother was 4 years older than I was, and they were all older, and convinced my dad to take us all to Silo X, which is a local haunted house, and that was rough
Oh boy.
because immediately they have like characters walking around that are psychos,
Mhm.
and I didn't know what psycho meant at the time, but I'm just like, oh, that's what a psycho is. It's somebody who walks around with darkened eyes and white face paint and screams at you.
Right.
So it might as well have been a goblin or a ghoulie.
A ghoulie.
And they had a chainsaw segment, of course, and all this stuff. There was a spooky clown. But my older cousins and dad had a grand old time.
You talking about haunted houses? I don't recall I've ever actually done one like an adult one, but I did remember that. I don't know if you ever heard of McCamey Manor. It was supposed to be
Uh-uh.
like the most extreme haunted house experience, and so people would come from all over.
Is that the one where like you
And
have to sign a waiver?
yes, and it got very dicey. And I want to say they got several very real lawsuits um, for just like blatant, like basically just like physical abuse
Yeah.
for some of them. And I think there was some misconduct too with like women and grabbing and things like
Oh, I'm
that.
sure.
So,
Like
yeah, I'm like, this isn't how you do any of this. And you're monetizing it. I'm like, it's of course it's not. Like, you're gonna get legal prosecution. I'm sorry. There's no way. There's no way any of this is legal.
no, but we had him sign a paper.
Mm-hmm.
We get free
You're right.
reign.
You're not human anymore. We get to do whatever we want. Eat flies. The
The nature of it.
I like my horror in film because I to like scare me directly, you'd really have to invest solely on a personal level to just mess with me. Everything would have to be in disarray when I'd expect it to not be.
Yeah.
Versus a movie I can associate with one character and be like petrified, right? Like their circumstances are confined to that movie are very uh, difficult and very unfortunate. So it's much easier to just get an hour and a half for $20 and be like, wow, that was really, scary for this person, and I kind of got to live that through them. And
Whereas
then a
in
haunted house is
real
like,
life, you gotta really go
yeah,
out of
it's
your
like,
way.
oh,
Make some real trauma for me. Come on now.
right. Like I'm gonna go to a haunted house and like rev a chainsaw in my head, and it's like, were you scared? I was like, I was very annoyed. I didn't want to be there. If that's what scared is.
I mean, como se, como
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
That's what they
take
call
it.
a cheap pop, right? You know, the one. Oh, you jump 2 for flinching. What are this fucking high school, dude?
Well, no, I dropped out of high school and
Oh no, yeah, you get like a real story. Hey man, anyways, you want to buy some mescaline or I'm good, man.
yeah,
I'll see
Halloween
you
season's
around.
almost over. I'm still trying to make some money.
I feel like that's the only real drawback that keeps Halloween from like becoming an absolute like Christmas juggernaut. Is it's just like all the folks it drags out of the woodworks to be like, oh, my psychological problems aren't actually problems, it's just a Halloween decoration. And like they're very frantic and like a real human weapon in some cases. It's like, yeah, we can't just make this like we can't have purge for 3 months out of the year. It's got to be like 1 week. That's all you get.
Is that what they mean when they say the freaks will come out to play?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm not going to therapy. Halloween's just right around the corner.
I heard they brought back Fright Fest in some capacity. Like, obviously they've always had it, but I guess like the effectiveness or the seriousness of it.
Oh yeah, they used
But
to go all out.
yeah. Well, so they gave you essentially like glow sticks that were called boo sticks, and if you had a boo stick, it meant that cast members or whatever could scare the shit out of you. But the problem is, right, is like in between everybody with boo sticks is still like 8-year-old kids with real fears, not carrying a boo stick, with parents who get really mad if they just spent ticket price to get their kid in here and then they immediately want to leave.
Yeah.
So it's like it's some real Suicide Squad like gun to your neck, like yeah, have it's gonna be crazy, but you can't. Not really. That guy behind you's really mad. Like, oh, okay. he fakes about faking.
I don't think I measured this out right. Oh yeah. I have to. Maybe I won't put all these frets on here. Maybe I'll just do it in color.
Just slap Scott Pilgrim's head on it, man. And then
Yeah. We are sex
Oh, what if he had 2 heads?
The
It's like multiverse gone wrong. They just get merged together.
guitars
One
with 2
head.
heads.
Yep. They got one arm from each of them.
Yeah, but they're both
Yeah,
right
learn to play-
arms. Ooh.
It made me think of Henchman 24 from Venture Brothers. Oh yeah, 24.
I'm here to harm you.
Yeah.
I think I made the neck
I'm
too
glad
long.
I've kept myself in the dark on this movie. I watched like the first trailer, but other than that, I don't have a clue about it.
Definitely made the neck too long and not wide. Oh well, we're gonna run with it.
Did I ever get down to
sometimes
talking about that Attack on Titan ride?
Not in
I don't
detail.
think I did. Okay. So it is like a like a Spider-Man ride, like kind of ferries you around and just throws
Okay.
harm in your general direction. Not a full-blown coaster. So you're basically with our men like riding on a horse and carriage, and then shit goes crazy and Titans are running at you. That's sort of the gimmick of it. Nevertheless, I'm sure that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
What's cool about that regard, like the VR, is they do change it out every couple months. So they'll go from like Monster Hunter to Sailor Moon to Final Fantasy to Detective Conan. Like I think they've even done Evangelion and Shin Godzilla. It's pretty awesome as in scope of like how many different IPs and things you can really experience.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like more thematic rides like that, I guess. Did you ever go to any of the Harry Potter stuff at Universal?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like the way they really blended like practical effects and projections and stuff, and
Hmm.
all with the motion of a coaster, I thought was really clever.
They can definitely make it work really well. I'll even go backpedal into Disney and say I really like what they've done in that regard. So they'll do a lot of like animatronics, but the faces are projections, aside from
Okay.
some molding, and it looks really well done because now it gives them like that basically like the cartoon face with the full bodiedness of a character.
Yeah, I saw.
Um,
I think I saw some of that at Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, where it was
okay.
like doing that for the statues.
Yeah. I know the Seven Dwarves ride I think uses it for the dwarves. Um, but I don't know if I had this problem with Harry Potter. It might have been the King Kong ride they have. It definitely was more like more projection than practical effects. Like basically you're just surrounders and you're on like a tilting platform. And I noticed like, way more motion sickness on that than I do like a coaster going like 60 or 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
For what the one ride that really like got to me at Universal was the Krusty ride that
Oh
used to be
yeah.
Back to the Future.
The simulation emotion is always going to be more nauseating than like actual emotion, at least for me,
Yeah. And so that like they're
because
not bad, but I definitely stagger them apart because if you just do simulation after simulation, you're gonna want to call it quits pretty quick. At
yeah,
least from my personal experience.
that's entirely understandable. It's because your brain knows something's wrong. Like it's just that slight disconnect in, all right, I'm bracing for all these things to happen with this motion, but none of it's really. I'm not getting the motion I'm expecting. It's really just like discombobulating.
The second alert I've got. You were talking about Defunct Land. Are there rides that are gone that you just miss and you'd give the world to get back? Or are
Um,
you just fascinated by older rides?
I'm just fascinated with like the theme park culture almost, like the history of
Yeah.
it,
It
and just a
definitely
lot of
is kind of baffling how they'll invest so heavily and then because the market sort of demands it, just do away with something.
yeah,
Um,
like something I think. I mean, it's not a popular opinion because I'm going up against the general public, but having to rebrand every ride with like a current IP
yeah.
instead of letting certain rides exist as their own kind of IP,
Hmm.
I think it takes
They
away a lot.
It takes away a lot because I mean, for one, I feel like they get a lot less IPs. I'd even go as far like before Minions, Universal really didn't have like a kid outlet at the parks. Kids just kind of did what the adults did, is like Terminator, Back to the Future, Jaws, because like that stuff was all still PG when kids grew up in that era. So of
Yeah.
course they could do the rides, like they could watch the movie. And then like I think Despicable Me and some of these other avenues opened up the potential for them to do like kids catered rides or even just like attractions because I don't know that they have a
Hmm.
Minions ride.
I think they
Um,
do. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
it's just always it doesn't seem like it's undercutting, but it's like you're going. It's kind of like wrestling. It's like you're going to get rid of the thing that built this, the thing that people fell in love with, for something
Yeah.
just reskinned usually. In some cases, like now, like you said, they've modernized it. But I mean, that Krusty ride, I think, is almost in like its third life cycle. Because at one point it was Back to the Future, and I think it's
Hmm.
Krusty. but I thought maybe they were changing it again.
Oh yeah, I think it's run its course with the Simpsons stuff.
I heard they're bringing back the Dueling Dragons ride that I think Potter World got rid of. So it was like Dueling Wizards at one point, and then I guess they got
Yeah.
rid of it entirely for Hagrid, the motorcycle one. And then
Yeah, I rode
somewhere
it whenever it was Dueling Dragons.
it's pretty dope
Yeah.
because like you pass by each other.
Mm-hmm. And it just had like a lot of really fun, original kind of pulp pulp adventure fantasy theming.
Right. And like that's like a point I'd talk on too about like we we're talking about the longevity of parks. It's like so they got rid of that for what more Harry Potter, which isn't a bad thing. Obviously, Harry Potter is a cash cow, but like when I went as a kid, the only thing I bought was like a Dueling Dragons mug because it had like the fire and ice dragon on it, and that's like what
Yeah.
I liked as a kid. I was that cringy like Walmart shirt kid with like dragons and things because like I wouldn't say like nerd culture didn't have an outlet, but if you thought dragons were cool, guess what? That's what you got. Like you didn't get a Dungeons and Dragons movies in theaters. You
Right.
get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
You got the
And so then
Aragon movie.
right. Oh boy, Aragon. You realize it's just dragon and they picked the next letter in the alphabet to name him, right?
What? No.
I'm
No.
saying, man. Hollywood, we figured it out.
We're on to you.
Guess what? We cracked the code. Too late. You're gonna pay us money now. Go with it. We really need this. We really, really need this. Go with it. So
Gonna
yeah,
use this as leverage in the strikes.
yeah. So basically, guys, here's how you handle strikes, right? Make it all AI. You don't need actors anymore because you like own all of them. Just make like 8 Luke Skywalkers digital, and like that. You don't even need a plot for that movie. Just have them like fight droids or something.
That's why uh a lot of the actors joined in the strike because a lot of studios are trying to get them to sign in perpetuity agreements
Oh boy.
so that they can just do 3D scans of them and then use them forever without ever paying them again.
It reminds me. I think Futurama even did this with like the Lucy Liu bot. Lucy Liu
Yeah.
was just like, "Can I please just?" I'm like, "Wow, we did this back in like 2002, maybe." Here we are again.
But studio execs never watch Futurama. They
Of
just
course,
watch
why would they?
they don't watch anything. They watch the numbers that come off of the things.
Though you know, it's like the saying says: if you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. If you don't watch Matt Groening, you're doomed to repeat the future.
We've just been living in the
We're
Reagan
living in the
era for the
shadow, man.
past 40 years.
I got on some rant today. It's all to defeat capitalism, the big main villain. I was like, only problem is we never win. It's like Game of Thrones. You're just gonna watch 8 seasons, and ain't shit gonna happen.
I
You're just
have
wasting your time.
all the cards, and I own the card table.
You know, they should really get like Kevin Spacey to sign one of them perpetuity agreements. He'd probably be down. Since he's clear of all charges now, he can go back to acting, right?
And he just has to do it the once.
House of Cards is coming back, baby.
I don't know. I still don't trust them to do it. Special effects. So, I mean, there have been some not totally off-putting de-agings, but they don't always really think it through.
There was a
Like,
pretty abysmal CGI I seen that of a show I never watched, but I think it was the Goldbergs, and I think it was
yeah,
someone who passed away, and the CG was just a huge injustice. If
like
you've never heard of it, I'd recommend looking at it, or I
I'll
might
definitely
even
look it
find
up.
it.
Like I've seen episodes of it. I I've been watching The Sopranos, and that one has a notorious scene because the actress who plays Tony's mom passed, but they still try to put like a couple last scenes with her, and it's like the year 2000, so it is rough. Like they just literally like stitched the film of her head from previous recordings over a body double.
Oh wow.
It it was not well executed, but then I look at modern day, uses of that, and it rarely works out. Like Scorsese wanting to use Robert De Niro in The Irishman, and they de-age him, but he's still moving like a 70-year-old man, 80-year-old man, however old he is.
Yeah. It's I'd be curious to watch like the new Indiana Jones just to see how much Harrison Ford moves around. I believe they did de-age him for some of those scenes though.
Oh, I think
And
so.
more, new flashbacks. I love when we're at the fifth movie in the series and we don't just have flashbacks to go back to. We actually CGI and new ones.
Yeah, just find some of that archive footage and make a whole new scene. Build a movie around that. I think that'd be a cool approach to it. So you haven't seen the new Indiana yet?
I haven't. I Another thing I haven't seen, I think I might go see it tomorrow though, is the new Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things. I
Cuz
like
like
everything I've seen on it so far.
I wasn't ecstatic about the animation before, and then it's like, well, it's like Spider-Verse, and I was like, that could work. Yeah, that could be cool. And like I saw the trailer, and I always get in this like it's prejudgmental. I keep myself from being too critical because I'm like, this movie's not made for you, Dom. Like it's made for a new audience. And so it's
Yeah.
like, find like the points to better my own understanding from like, oh, this is why it's funny or this is why it's entertaining. And so I've come around to being pretty open to it, and now I'm just kind of excited to go check it out.
And I think it does have things you'll like because like a lot of the designs seem based off of the old action figures.
But yeah, and like the actual villains in it, which I mean, we had Michael Bay, Bebop, and Rocksteady with one pro wrestler, and now we got animated Bebop and Rocksteady with a different pro wrestler. But I'm not mad about it because
Which
they actually look
wrestler?
like Bebop and Rocksteady. So John Cena is Rocksteady in this one,
Oh, cool.
and I believe Seth Rogen is Bebop, which is
Oh, okay.
perfect. He's gonna do his shitty laugh, and it's
Yeah.
he's I make turtle soup. You fucking
That's awesome because I know I haven't seen any clips of it, but I know Hannibal Buress is Genghis Frog.
Oh wow, I did remember that, but it wasn't on like the any of the recent trailers I saw. Someone was in it. Was it was Donald Glover in this?
He might be. He was also in Spider
It,
Verse.
oh, true. Who did they? He wasn't in the first one though, right?
He was. He voiced. You did you see the first one, or you haven't seen either of them?
Yeah, no, I've seen the first one plenty.
He
Was he
voices Uncle
Miles'
Aaron.
uncle?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome because like when I rewatched Homecoming, Eris watched it with me. I was like, this might be a little adult, might not. it's Spider-Man, so at the end of the day, it's lighthearted this early on. And yeah, obviously I remember him being in it, but I didn't remember who he was. And so it wasn't until then I watched, I was like, oh, he's fucking Prowler, like, you know.
In the other
Obviously he's not
universe,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. He's Aaron. He's the same character in both different universes. The actor is, but
Hmm. Because
obviously, and
Miles Morales, when he was created in the comics, was based on Donald Glover.
yeah, that's what I was always like, um, fascinated with. So because obviously they talked about having him play him for forever, and time just kept going. So then he's like, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. No, I love seeing those actors we love and cameos like that. I can't wait till Danhausen joins the superhero universe.
Dude, he might too. I'm trying to, like, would he just be himself? He would have to, right?
Mysterio here.
Yes, my illusions. Yes, I'm very intelligent. Look at my movie effects. Very good, very evil. Pay me lots of money, and I will win Hollywood.
Bring
Yes.
my movie money.
Danhausen wins.
Scorpionhausen.
Scorpionhausen. He should just do like a pitch on an episode of Dynamite where it's all different Marvel comic entities, and he's just plugged himself in. Oh, not okay. Not a good sell. All right. What about this? Rhinohausen. I wear a giant suit, and now I have all the abilities of a rhino. Yes.
Very nice, yes.
Until I become Venomhausen.
I think he already became Venomhausen.
Yeah. There's just a more evil Danhausen that's supposed to be the Carnage
He
trade-off.
does say swears.
Yeah. It's just gonna be like Tim Robinson in that Ghost House sketch on I Think We Should Leave. We can say whatever the hell we want. What? He just blurts out like obscenities nonstop. You said this was an adult ghost tour.
Danhausen's gonna jizz.
Oh no. Oddly enough, this feels very reminiscent of I don't know how much you watched Gold Dust in WWE. That's Cody Rhodes' older brother, Dustin Rhodes. But
I didn't really follow him, but I was certainly familiar with him.
at one point, I want to say around like 2002, 2003, he was like in and out of these angles with Christian and Booker T, and they give him like stutters and things to where he would just say like he would say like an obscenity, but he was trying to say like a different word, and so
Huh.
it'd be like cock, and then like some word that has essentially cock in it. Might say like cockatoo or something, but obviously creative at the time thought it was just so funny if he could say cock when he was trying to say
Right.
something else. And it's
Fits
Gold
the
Dust, so he's
era.
already And so I'm like, we're sitting here riffing about, adult housing. And I'm like, it kind of just sounds like Gold Dust in the early 2000s. So it's like, not only would he not be received well, like, I don't even know what the hell they would do with him. Plus, he just got his ass beat on the regular. I don't know. We did.
I don't know if you could take much more of that.
Right,
He
the
was in
wrestling
and out of the
industry.
hospital so much.
Oh, is that Danhausen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would. I guess it would be funny if it was him playing both alter egos. I was just thinking this was like a whole new trope
Oh,
character
gotcha.
brought in just for the bit. But no, that'd
Bring
be
back
pretty
Mick
funny.
Foley to play Evil Danhausen.
Well, like it'd be so funny if Danhausen's just feuding with himself, but it's not Danhausen. He's got to prove it to everyone. that that darn adulthausen is at it again. He's ruining my evil name. And then, like, obviously they cut to a pre-roll or a clip, he filmed earlier. Like,
Something going on in the
look,
parking garage.
you look like a total dick right now. Damn you, adulthausen. And then it like covers his mouth because he uses an obscenity, and that's the whole angle. He's turning Danhausen into a potty mouth.
Evil.
Yeah.
Well, he's already evil, but he's turning him unprofitable.
He's not just turning me evil, he's using the word evil. Oh,
In order to stop him, I'll have to become Goodhausen.
there's we've ran into a bit of a snag with Eris. Speaking of evil, there's this song called Evil she is absolutely in love with, which is unfortunate because I guess she's a superstar. Her name's Melanie Martinez, musician.
Name sounds
And
really
I don't know.
familiar.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you've seen her at some point or another. She, how do I compare her in just a wick? She kind of adopted that like Daddy's Little Monster Harley Quinn aesthetic.
Oh,
And
okay.
so yeah, so like there was a lot of
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about now.
there's a lot of what do you call that? I guess like fangirling for that. And she has since completely abandoned that like physical identity and traded it in for like this weird like Mr. Mistopheles face like fey creature that she has now done music videos in. So much that I guess she only does like appearances in this costume now. At
Oh,
least with
wow.
like at least with the uh like the mask or whatever it is, like in the
Got a whole
music
new
video
gimmick
obviously has like
now.
high budget makeup, right? Well, she changed like all the thumbnails to all her music videos to this music video. So it's like this total like identity crisis, like shape shift. Like, is this a Matt Bosler bit, or is this like you're completely batshit housing and this, you're just
Or is
completely lost
somebody
and hey, this is what I'm doing.
somebody new adopting the persona?
That would be kind of dope. I don't think, when I outside of pro wrestling, I entertain those ideas, and then I'm like, A, no one's that committed, and I really don't need a B.
Yeah. I mean, are you familiar with Poppy?
Uh, no. I know of them, but
Another
I'm
kind
not
of
like a,
edgy electronic pop star
they're
type.
like a, yeah, they were like an all female group, right?
It's just one
Or am I
person.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, but it's like her music was produced by Titanic Sinclair, who was previously producing Mars Argo's stuff, but then there was a huge thing, and apparently Titanic Sinclair was like abusing Mars Argo. And then Mars Argo just wanted to drop off the face of the earth and just leave it all behind, and then took down like all of her music and stuff. And like this is after kind of a music and art project they had done together, and then here comes Poppy with a similar setup to what Mars Argo had been doing, because now Titanic Sinclair is producing for Poppy, and essentially just voices this new character archetype on a new person.
Hmm. Well, they should just make a Black Mirror episode about it, dude.
I'd be surprised if they hadn't.
I would too. Apparently, Hulu made a TV show about it.
About what?
The Poppy Mars Argo thing.
Oh, shit.
Let's see. Oh, maybe not. This was a long time ago.
I mean, this happened a good while ago at this point, I guess.
Yeah.
Not even clear are his. They're kind of a darkish gray blue. But yeah, sometimes life is stranger than fiction. That doesn't mean I'm going to buy into a bunch of conspiracy theories about replaced celebrities.
Just buy into cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah, it's a
I
sure
like how
thing.
that-
I've been
I
told it's
wouldn't
a
say
sure
it
thing.
fell off, but the craze definitely died down.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was another illusion of the American dream where anyone can get rich off of it, but the people who were going to get rich off of it already were.
Yeah.
It just happened at a much faster rate, and then Ethereum stopped allowing, like they hit their cap and stopped allowing mining. So you couldn't mine for Ethereum anymore, which was the big mined one, and so people, you couldn't get it through blood, sweat, and tears anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So with that falling off, it not as drastically as I'd hoped. It dropped off the prices of graphics cards a little bit.
Right.
We
But,
were already in such a deficit as far as like microprocessors go that we're still kind of coming back from it.
right. Like if you want to do any PC building or anything, I mean the price is just astronomical still.
Yeah. And I mean it affected everything. A big part was like it affected the automotive industry. And so like dealers couldn't get cars in because they couldn't produce cars with modern day standards because they didn't have the microprocessors to for like the inboard computers and everything.
Cars, who needs them? We're all gonna ride e-bikes in 3 years.
I mean, we could have had a comprehensive public transit system, but GM didn't want that. So they really vied for a country that relied on cars and they got their way.
Yeah. I think you have to look at the fuel industry too as the whole big backer for that.
Yeah. Well, GM bought a bunch of railroads back in the day and then turned the railroad tracks into engine blocks.
Hmm.
I imagine with some big cartoony Dr. Seuss machine that literally went along scooping up the tracks and then spitting out engine blocks right behind it.
I don't know if you've ever checked it out. There's an anime. They even redid it, which I've never watched the revised version. But it's called Kino's Journey.
I'm not
But so
familiar.
every episode, there's basically this wandering character, Kino, on her talking motorcycle, goes to like a new town, and it'll be like typically this new sort of like utopia. It's supposed to just reflect on like society and how either it just digs beneath the surface. So in one case, she goes to this town, runs across somebody uh, cleaning up the railroad tracks for the railroad to come through. It's like, oh yeah, I'm cleaning the tracks, and he's just walking, just keeps walking down the tracks, cleaning them, fixing them up. Behind him, like several miles back, there's another guy. He's taking all the pieces up, and behind him, several miles back, is a guy laying all new tracks. And I watched that show very like early into like just brain development. I was probably in like junior high or something. So a lot of episodes that like really stand out. My favorite one was like she goes to this town, and it's like a nice looking town, like it's tidy, but no one's outside. And you find out that all the townspeople can read each other's mind.
Oh,
And
jeez.
so yeah, it became a very it became a very dastardly place where people were just kind of like anticipate like very malicious thoughts or things they didn't want to know. And
Yeah.
so they box themselves in. Well, because Kino is an outsider, because the origin of this power was like a local phenomenon that like a scientist was trying to make like a device, and it sort of like blew up in the town's face. So Kino is sort of immune to the symptoms, and so she's like visiting with a very nice person, telling her all about, how it works and why no one's out and about. And all the while he's sort of like locking the house down, and he's prepared to like kidnap her and like keep her there forever because he's so desperate for company. Like now
Hmm.
he finally has like his Wonka ticket. Um and then that's kind of when like you get the bestowed knowledge that Kino is like a mercenary.
Okay.
And so Kino is a very what's the word? Un I can't think of it. Unassuming, very unassuming cold-hearted killer basically. He's
Oh,
a
hell
like a
yeah.
child. So you see like this more or less like 12 to 14-year-old, really not sure if it's a boy or a girl, at least in the original, until later on that it's like a reveal.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's especially creepy, because she's always like encountering adults and, asking about the towns and things.
Right.
So who knows what intention of this character could be, and then just gets blown away.
He says called
And
just
no,
Kino's Journey, or
yes, Kino's Journey. And I
okay,
want to
because this
say they
sounds
did
really
like
neat.
it was a very short like anthology. I want to say like 6, maybe 12 episodes in the original run.
Gotcha.
Um, but they did a newer version. Had to be at least as new as 2011, and that's probably the one you'd find. Let me see if it's on Crunchyroll.
Because I'd definitely love to check this out. While you check that out, I think I'm gonna start winding up here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hitting them
It's
hours.
yeah. I appreciate you coming out. This has been a blast.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'll definitely be catching up with you more later, and maybe even come in for a couple Thursdays here and there.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I'll
Yeah,
catch you on the flip side. Thank you everyone out there viewing for joining us. I hope you had as good a time as I did. Um, any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to plug? Any shouts out?
oh yeah, shouts out to these guys over at 10 Paces. They do this every Monday. And every Thursday, every now and again, you get a word in, you know, just sort of get some fresh air and have a good
Yeah,
time.
come on down to the saloon. Do like
Take
Axem.
it easy. Take it easy, man.
You too. Catch you later. All right, everybody. Happy trails. We'll see you next time.